Hello, World Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Happy Friday, March 3rd. And yes, time for another store review. So last week I put out the gift video, and that went to Kill Honey of the EU server. We managed to get right at 30 subscribers. So congratulations there. And I appreciate all of the new subscribers, and hopefully you're back for another store review video. Came down sick on Saturday, COVID on Sunday, but we're back feeling great again, ready to get into Blitz. And I log in and oh my God, I'm overwhelmed by camos. And what really frustrates me about this, and sorry, there's a little bit of a soapbox here. Everyone I talk to, matchmaking is broken. Matchmaking is broken. Wargaming, here, have some camos. It's really getting to the point where I think we're probably losing players over matchmaking. And I really would like to see Wargaming start to address the problem of the sheer number of lopsided battles. I could care less if I was on a win streak, a lose streak. But when there's battles that there's just absolutely nothing I can do, and they're 7-0 every single time, the game's just lost interest to me at that point in time. So off the soapbox, let's jump into the store review. We've got a new month started, Operation Shrouded Bow. This is, they're calling it Panlong, I believe here. Looks like a WZ Chinese tank destroyer. And guys, if you're not familiar with the Chinese tank destroyer line yet, the whole line is fun. So I am expecting this tank to be pretty good as well. Of course, you're going to have to buy the license to get everything on the bottom two rows for $5. I'm sure the battle pass and the license an additional $3, which is optional. You have to come in and complete your missions each week. And as I was reminded, and that, because I've never not had the license before, you can activate weeks and skip back and forth throughout the month. So that's not really an issue. To me, the only issue with maximizing the value from the battle pass is making sure you play enough games to fill up the vault, because this one right here, increasing the vault size to 2,000 gold, you really want to make sure that you've got enough games after you've opened this one to fill out that 2,000 gold, because you're going to get just over 3,000 gold out of this, and I think that is the main value in the $5 battle pass. So let's hop into the store here. And yes, you may have seen we've got a new tank out this week. German containers, they're gone. Let's get rid of these already. Containers, I'm just over it. Camos and containers. It's like, can we not just buy some tanks and enjoy the fact that you're putting effort into developing new tanks? So, Bofors, Tornvagn, I'm sure I butchered that to hell. Anyway, it's a 5% drop chance for this tier 8 Swedish heavy tank. It looks quite interesting. Not sure how it's going to play just yet, but what I don't like about this, guys, this is $100 for 25 containers, and there is only a 5% drop chance, and you need 30 charms in order to guarantee yourself the tank. So 5%, 25 containers, that gives you a 36% chance of getting the tank. You actually have a higher percentage chance of getting the camo for the tank out of these crates, which is pretty stupid. And you're not even guaranteed for $100 to get this tank out of these 25 containers. So guys, we've just got to be real patient. Let the containers come, let the containers go, stay away from them. If people don't buy containers, then Wargaming will have to stop selling containers, but we know that isn't going to happen. Mystery box here. This is a horrible deal. Please stay away from it. Mystery boxes are like the worst containers you could have outside of camo containers. So they're really little value in the mystery box. And if you're going to spend 90 bucks, you better come away with way more than 37,000 gold. Also, we've got the WZ 111 for $40. I feel like this is quite expensive for the tank that you're getting. So yeah, try to stay away from this one as well. Great choice. Talked about this one at length. People can have success with this because there's so many tanks. There's over 200 tanks that you're guaranteed to get. But as I've mentioned many times before, a lot of tier 5 and tier 6 tanks. So if you end up spending $100 on this container and you're 5 short, well, you can spend another $20 and guarantee yourself the tank. And here we go. Here are the camos that obviously are selling very well, because this has been a trend that I've noticed over the last few months. A lot of camos in the store. Let's see, we'll bring this one up for the Yo. So it's got a little hologram. Apparently this comes up at the beginning and end of the battle, and whenever you kill somebody is my understanding. Otherwise, you know, there's the rest of the camo here. Let's see. I mean, I'm not going to say they're unique. There's the STB. But again, I feel like now I really need to have a control button to say realistic mode only. Let's get away from these fantasy tanks. Let's get away from these fantasy camos. And let's just have a battle of real tanks on real tanks. So Wargaming, if you could put that in, that would be wonderful as well. So look at these, 6,500 gold each. You know, you're talking upwards of almost $10 just for a camo here. All right, so yeah, it seems like I've been on the soapbox a lot here lately. Maybe that's what COVID's done for me. Anyway, we'll talk about tanks when we get down to them. Lucky Container still around for a little bit longer. Looks like they've combined them all into one revolving little graphic there. Again, I did very well with the Lucky Camos or the Lucky Containers just because I have so many tanks and was able to fill in with some top tier tanks. I got a tier 9 and a tier 10 out of the Lucky 5. So it really is more beneficial for those of us that have a lot of tanks already. Resources. Again, if you're going to be spending $100 on this game, I really want to make sure you come away with way more than 37,000 gold. So please don't spend that much money on the 5x boosters. I'm not saying here that some of these deals for the 5x boosters, like I don't mind someone spending 1,200 gold here for 5 or for 10 5x boosters, or even the 2,500 for 25. It really speeds up the grind on your tank. But make sure, guys, if you do buy those 5x boosters, you only play tanks where you are looking to get the most out of those winning battles on tanks that you are grinding. Because a win in a 5x battle is like 5 wins at one time. So keep that in mind. The problem is that you can't turn them off or turn them on. And so however many you buy, you're really going to have to play that many games in tech tree tanks and tanks that you are currently grinding on. So to me, in my experience on my EU reroll account, if you were to have something like 100, I don't have enough tanks that I'm grinding on to play 100 battles without having to spend silver to buy the next tank up, which I don't have enough silver. So I find, you know, having 100 of these is kind of going to be a waste for most people. Now, as we get into the tanks, Dash and Clash here, T23E3 and the T25 Pilot. Tier 7, Tier 8, two very similar playstyles. So I'm not very optimistic or enthusiastic about this offer here. Because you're spending money on two very similar tanks, just a tier apart. They are both of the American play style. They've got decent mobility and decent gun accuracy and good gun depression, and all around good tanks that don't do anything exceptionally well. Like they don't have the most impressive accuracy, or they don't have the most impressive armor. but they're just all around good, solid tanks. So keep that, I think if you're a collector, 7,000 is not bad for these two tanks. But outside of that, I don't see any need for you to purchase these two tanks, as they're certainly not near the top of my recommendations for their tiers. Strideswagen 74A2. So here's a tier 6 medium tank here. You've got 3 shells in the magazine, 1.5 seconds. I do feel this 9 degrees of gun elevation can be a little tricky at times. 6 degrees of gun depression is not great. Outside of that, decent mobility, fun little tank. 4,000 gold, it's okay for a tier 6 in my opinion. I wouldn't recommend it. The one tank in here right now that I do really enjoy, and I think for 7,000 gold, the Kanonen here is a solid tank. It's got great mobility for a tank destroyer. The armor is suspect, but it has a wonderfully accurate gun for a tank destroyer. So what I find plays best with this tank is, race to the spot where you can potentially get some sniping in early. If you don't get in the right position based upon the map, you can relocate pretty easily. And then you've got pretty good damage per minute here, 2771. That's before equipment at a tier 8. You can really clean up at the end, and you can move in and you've conserved your hit points. And to me, it plays like a really nice tank. And for 7,000 gold at tier 8, not a bad little deal. The Fury here with 30 days of premium time is something that does attract me a little bit. Small potential you get another American tank with 2 containers with 10% drop chance. The 5X are only for this tank, which is a little bit of a downside. But $7, it's a nice, fun little iconic tank. Certainly not near the top of its tier 6, but again, fun little tank, 30 days of premium, price is reasonable. The Bat Chat and the Type 57, we talked about this last week. I am not a big fan of the Type 57 just because of its slow, long reload and poor accuracy. You miss a shot, you're penalized so heavily in these tanks. Bat Chat, however, I do really enjoy. However, 12,500 for just the, without even camo for a tier 8 seems to be a little bit high. So really would like to wait on this, get the price down, into the 8,000 where it really should be. So be patient on that as well. M222 Locust, just wanted to see here. This is a $4 tank, 1,000. So yeah, it's not even really a good deal. You are going to get 30 of the boosters, but really not even a good deal to sell, buy and sell. And then only 4 days left on Smashing Platoon. We've talked about this at length. 2 French heavy tanks, with the most interesting one being the Lorraine with the 4-shell autoloader. And I've talked at length about how difficult it is with 2.5 seconds. You're at 10 seconds or 7.5 seconds there in order to unload a full clip. That can be quite difficult at times. So you're often forced into making that tough decision. Do I reload or do I just hold 1 or 2 shells in the magazine? So guys, if you're investing in the game and you're gonna plop down some cash, I just really do think make sure you're getting 2 times your gold here. 750 gold should be about where you should try to get. Anything above that is a great deal. I had a pop-up offer on my EU account because I hadn't played it for a while. It was like 1,200 gold for $1. That is an unbelievable deal. Don't buy anything less than 500, but try to stay 750 above is my recommendation. And yeah, so that's going to be it. Sorry about the soapbox comments there, but just interested if you leave a comment below what your thoughts are on today's current matchmaking and where Blitz is headed. I mean, we've seen some beautiful new maps, which I really appreciate. But I think so much effort has been put onto new tanks and new camouflages when really the effort should be put into player satisfaction, to be quite honestly with you. So with that, I'm going to head out before I start coughing like crazy here in a second. So have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger, out.